Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am filming this in the first week of March 2026. I thought I would give you a quick update about the situation at Smith & Wesson regarding quality control and customer service. You may have heard me talk about this on the channel before, although I haven't mentioned it in a while. And maybe you've heard about it from some other place, or maybe you haven't heard, you don't care. For the last few years, Smith & Wesson has had a reputation for having poor quality control and poor customer service. You know, Smith has been around for like 175 years, something like a very, very long time. And generally during that period, their quality has been very good and their customer service has been very good. But they have gone through periods, particularly since the 1970s, particularly in the last 50 years or something like that, when their quality control has been maybe not that great. And their customer service has also been rather lackluster. These last few years, they seem to have had the worst quality control and the worst customer service that they've ever had, as near as I can tell. Although it's very hard to quantify those sort of things or measure them objectively. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I've not had a lot of bad experiences with Smith. I don't remember any, in fact. But I know a lot of people who work in gun shops, who own and run gun shops, and who, you know, are in that industry, and who sell a lot of Smith & Wessons, and they get Smith & Wessons that are delivered that are defective, brand new from the factory, or they sell them and the customers discover defects, or customers are returning these and saying, hey, this needs warranty work or whatever. These people in the gun shops have a lot of experience dealing with Smith, dealing with both their quality or lack thereof and their customer service or lack thereof. And I'm not entirely sure why they're having such bad quality control and customer service. A lot of it seems to come from their move from Massachusetts to, I think, the new facilities in Tennessee. But they're moving their headquarters, and they've been sort of slowly moving production from one place to the other, shutting down some production lines, starting them up in another state, and of course moving the management and the engineers and so on. And so as they do that, and as they're training a new workforce and getting new machines set up, okay, well, we would expect a few teething problems. Okay, and we've had those, and that's fine. And as they're moving their headquarters personnel, and probably, if we're being blunt about it, probably firing some people and hiring new ones, because there are probably a lot of people in Massachusetts who are really good employees, but who don't want to move to another state, who say, well, you know, I don't want to move to keep my job, my family's here, I want to stay here. So they're probably having to hire and train new people. And so those people are probably not as good at, they're not as experienced at working on those guns or dealing with Smith & Wesson's customers. There's a learning curve. You know, it's true with any job, with any industry. The wind has picked up here a little bit. Hopefully it won't hurt our audio very much. So yeah, a lot of people were hoping those problems would go away once the new factory was established. And I don't know, it's not clear yet. I'm not sure where they are in their timeline. I'm not sure if the old factory is completely shut down now, the new one's completely up and running, I don't know. But I was in a local gun shop last week, and they're a big gun shop. They're kind of like a Bass Pro, where they're a big sporting goods store and they do lots of business and they have lots of guns. Actually, I think they have more guns than any Bass Pro I've ever seen. Yeah, they might have. Some Bass Pros are really well, I don't know. Maybe is on par with the biggest Bass Pros. They're a local independent shop, but they've been in business a long time, and they're big, and they sell lots of guns, including lots of Smith & Wesson. So they have lots of information, and they've been in business a long time, and they've seen these trends kind of come and go. They've seen ups and downs in the industry, whatever. So they have a lot of experience. And I was in there last week. That would have been, I'm filming this first week of March. That would have been the last week of February 2026. As of last week of February 2026, you know, I asked them, how's Smith & Wesson doing now? How's their quality control customer service? And what those guys are telling me is that they have seen improvements in quality control. It's not perfect. It's not as good as it was maybe 10 years ago, but it's better than it was a year ago. So their subjective impression is that they don't get as many defective guns as they used to. And also, their impression is that when they have to use customer service, the customer service is now pretty good, but there's a big asterisk at the end of that. It's good for them, but it might not be good for you. Most of their quality control problems seem to have been with Smith & Wesson revolvers in recent years. They didn't seem to think that there was a big problem with the semi-autos. There may be some problems with the semi-autos, but the primary customer complaints, or their primary problems, have been, I think, with revolvers, if I understood them correctly. And they did say, if you're worried about Smith quality, they did say that usually as soon as they take a revolver out of the box, they know if it's defective or not. Like, the barrels won't be straight in the frame, they'll be installed crooked, or there'll be a big cylinder gap. Something obviously wrong. A lot of play in the cylinder or something like that. Something really glaringly wrong. And, you know, that's a gun that should never have left the factory. That should have been obvious before it was ever shipped out. Whoever put it in the box should have noticed. Those guns presumably get test fired before they're shipped, so I don't know how people weren't noticing this. They get proofed, right? They fire proof loads. I mean, whoever's shooting them should know. But anyway, so these guys have been telling me at the gun shop that for years now they've been getting, and it's not the majority of Smith & Wesson revolvers or Smith & Wesson products, but they'll get them on a reasonably regular basis that have something glaringly wrong. And I guess, I know they said they've had some that they had to ship back for service. They're not the end user customer, but for customer service to have them worked on. And sometimes they don't even when they're returned to the store, they're not fixed correctly, which is just terrible, inexcusable. And they have talked about their customers returning guns to the store and saying, hey, this doesn't work. I have to think that for the most part, if it comes into the store, it's not going to be sold if it's defective, because the staff there will notice. But it may be that people are having guns shipped in and transferred, and I would not buy a Smith & Wesson of recent make, especially a revolver, without seeing it. I wouldn't just order one. Now, if you can handle one in the gun store, what they're telling me is if it has any problem, that'll be obvious. You'll sort of know it right away. You don't have to take it to the range. I don't know. Maybe some of these problems are cropping up on the range, but what they're telling me at the gun store is that you'll know right away. But again, it's possible that people are ordering these guns, so they've already paid for the thing before it arrives, and the staff doesn't check it out. It's just like, hey, here's your gun, fill out the 4473, have a good day. I mean, it's not, the gun never belongs to the store, so it's not their responsibility. But in any event, that's a digression. So what they're telling me is that they're seeing fewer of these problems, which is great. They're still seeing them occasionally, which is bad. Smith shouldn't be shipping any of these. These should never leave the factory. But if we're at least seeing fewer of them, that's better. And the big thing is that particular store doesn't have a problem with customer service anymore, but that's because they have a Smith & Wesson factory rep who comes and visits them frequently. They have a close relationship with him. And when they have difficulty, they will call him or contact him personally, and they'll say, hey, we need this gun fixed or whatever. And he'll contact people he knows at the factory and say, make it happen. He doesn't. They have this very personal connection with the Smith & Wesson factory rep, and he has connections with people at the factory, and he can get things done. But if you're just Joe customer and you send your gun back to Smith & Wesson, maybe it'll get fixed and maybe it won't. You don't have a factory rep who's in your corner, who's there to help you out. But even that store, even though they sell lots of Smith & Wessons and they have close relationship with the factory rep, until just the last few months, even they were having trouble getting anything repaired correctly or in a timely manner. So that's pretty bad. Their factory rep now is taking care of them. They're happy with that. If they do get a defective gun, they get it fixed quickly. It's done correctly. That's what they're telling me. The customer service is good. But again, if you are not a big retailer who sells lots of Smith & Wessons, your revolver that you bought, if it's not right, well, Smith may or may not do a good job repairing it. They may or may not do a timely job. You don't have that factory rep on whom you can put some pressure and who can exert pressure on your behalf. So that's what they're telling me. This one store is saying that now they're not having trouble with customer service, still a little bit of trouble with quality control, but it's better than it was. But if you were to order a gun, if you were to buy a gun sight unseen or whatever, one of these, a fairly recent manufacturer the last few years, getting it repaired might be difficult. Again, I would be reluctant right now until things settle down some more. So that's the situation at Smith & Wesson from what I hear. Hey, this is hearsay. Take it for what it's worth. You take it with a grain of salt. But that's what they're telling me at my local gun shop, and they're very knowledgeable. They know a great deal about it. Guys, that's just my Smith & Wesson update for you. Thought you might find it interesting. I found it interesting to hear, and I'm hoping things will get better at Smith. I have always liked Smith & Wesson products. Like the company, I like doing business with them, and I'm hoping that they'll improve enough that I feel a little more confident going into the future, continuing to do business with them. I'll certainly still buy an older Smith, like those a lot, and as you know if you watch the channel. And even their newer stuff, for the most part, is still quite good. It's just, they've had a few hiccups along the way, and it looks like they finally are getting that ironed out. Well, there's a mixed metaphor. You don't iron hiccups, do you? Well, it doesn't matter. Guys, until next time, keep your powder dry.